In this video, we are going to start building the last part of this website, which is the footer. Okay, now the footer is a container of its own. Yeah, it's a container of its own, and normally the things you normally see inside of a footer are contact information, authorship information, and copyright information. Now you can also add links. Yeah, you can also add links inside of a footer. But in this video, we are going to start building a footer for this website. Okay, so let's just get started quickly. So like I said, the footer is like a block element, so just keep that in mind. Okay, and we are not going to be using a container here. Okay, we are just going to be using the footer tag. Okay, this is what you do to add a footer. This is the footer tag here, so everything will go inside of here. So we are not going to be adding a container because this footer is going to be acting like the container. Okay, we are just going to be adding our rows and columns. Okay, so let's just start this quickly, and you say div, as always, div class of row, and then div class of column. Now this time we are going to be using, let's see the column we are going to be using, because inside of this footer we are going to be having 4 columns. Okay, we are going to be having 4 columns. So let's just go over to our CSS and see the column we are going to be using. Let's go down here. So we are going to be using the column tree because the column tree has a width of 25%. So each of the 4 columns, they are going to take the width of 25% each. Okay, so we are going to be using the width of 25% for our column tree. Okay, so we are going to be using the class of column tree. Now, one thing I want to point out here, in case you are maybe being confused in concerning this row, maybe you are asking yourself, why am I always adding the row class inside of our index.html? So this is the reason, and you can see here we gave this row a specific styling. So you can see we gave the row a width of 100%, a display of flex, and a flex wrap of wrap, and a text align of center. Okay, and align items of center. So we have already styled this row. Okay, that's why we have already styled the row class. So that's why we can easily specify it inside of our index.html. Okay, so that's why we are specifying it here. Okay, we have already styled it. Okay, so I just don't want you to maybe get confused, because you might, as you are seeing this row, I'm always referencing in our index.html. So don't worry about that. I already styled it. Okay, so as like I said, we are going to be using the column tree class. So say col tree, and let's close this. Now inside of this footer, what are we going to be having? Inside of this footer, we are going to be having a header. Okay, so say h1, yeah, header, and this header I'm going to call it visit. Now remember, the header is a block element, so it will easily stack upon one another if I put another thing underneath it. Okay, so we are going to be adding the unordered list underneath this header. So because we are going to be having something like list items. Okay, so just say underneath your header you call your ul element, ul tag, and then we are going to be having some list items here. So say li. So what do we want to name this list? We are going to call it about. Hit enter. Let's create another list item. Say li once again. Then we are going to call this one blogs. Let's create the last one here, and we are going to call this one careers. Careers. Okay, so this is how it's going to be. We specified a h1 element here, and underneath this h1 element we are having our unordered list with list items underneath it. Okay, so now let's refresh this and see how it's looking. Remember, this is going to be taking a width of 25%. Let's refresh. Now let's go down here and see how this is looking. Now you can see here, this is looking good. Of course, we are just starting. We are still going to be styling this, but so far this is what we have. So this is our heading 1, which is the visit, and our list item, which is about, blogs and careers. Okay, so we are going to continue on in styling this footer in our next video, but so far this is what we have. So in the next video, we are going to be adding more content inside of this footer, and we are going to be styling these list items. But before I go here, we are going to be adding a class to this footer. Okay, because the reason we are going to be adding a class to this footer is because throughout my website I might have other footers, and they might look different from this particular one. So that's why I added this. That's why I want to add this specific class to it, so we can be able to differentiate when that time comes. Okay, so let's add another class to this footer, because I might be having another class, another footer element throughout my web page in the future. So let's just add a class to this footer, and for short form I'm just going to call this FT for footer, short for footer. So I'm just going to call it FT. So in the next video, we are going to be using this class to style our footer, and we are going to be styling the contents inside of this footer. So I'll see you guys in the next video.